Hey lovies, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Extreme Tarot, where we do moon readings, pick a cards, and zodiac readings. Today we're doing a moon reading, a check-in, a collective check-in on this full moon in Gemini that is coming on December 7th, at least where I live. I have 3 cards already pre-shuffled. Just to get a quick overview, then we're going to get some tarot, some advice, some affirmations, and some tea leaves to see basically what else is coming up with this full moon. And I know these aren't usually the most popular readings, but sometimes I like that because I feel like I could get more specific messages for whoever needs it, whoever's watching. So okay, let's dive in. So this card I have here, we got the Saturn return. Age number 50 is representing the cosmic energy coming in with this full moon in Gemini. And a Saturn return, if you don't know, is basically when Saturn returns to the place in your chart that it was when you were born. It usually takes about 29.5 years. And usually a Saturn return is kind of a push into adulthood. So even if you're not around that age, but I also would like to point out we got this card is number 27. So I feel like it is kind of reinforcing the message of the Saturn return, because I feel like when you're right around that age is when you start maybe questioning certain things about your life and things like that. So the way you're living, the way you are, it's a good chance to sort of do a little inventory and overhaul. So even if you're not at that age, you might be called to sort of question some things, is basically the vibe that I'm getting. But when Saturn comes in, it's not a subtle energy. Let's just say that. It's going to use tough love in order to get its point across. So there could be some consequences, I would say, of certain ways of being. And it's important to look at these consequences because the word consequence, you could have a positive consequence or a negative consequence for the way your energy is and the way the choices you make and the decisions you make and things like that. But it's kind of you get what you give. You know what I'm saying? So if there is some sort of negative consequence coming in, some sort of tough lesson, some tough love from spirit, I guess just try to look at it in the way of okay, Saturn is all about taking responsibility. So okay, how have I contributed to this consequence that is happening in my life? And even if it's not a consequence, something bad happens or just something happens to sort of disrupt your life or whatever the case, it might just be, the consequence could just be maybe you don't feel as good about yourself as you could if you were making different decisions and conducting yourself in a different way. And that's the stuff that's kind of coming to the forefront for you to question right now. And then we have this card, the Antimony Stibus, number 27. And this is how you can sort of work with this Saturn energy. And this is a really beautiful card, this Antimony card. And what antimony is, from my understanding, it's it's this metal substance that's very corrosive, and it eats away at everything except gold. And I think that's beautiful because I think what was I reading about it, that people in ancient times, or maybe not even ancient times, maybe today's times, but if there was jewelry that had silver and other metals in it, they would use this substance to sort of get rid of all the stuff that wasn't the gold, so it would be pure gold, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what this card is calling on you to do, to work with the energy this way, where you're letting this corrosion come in to refine your life and leave only the gold, you know what I'm saying? So, and the first thing I thought before I even looked into this card, when I saw it, was this wolf, and obviously it's white, and it was reminding me of being a blank slate sort of, because I feel also another thing that Saturn return talks about is how until you're coming of age and entering adulthood, which, I mean, technically you're an adult at 18, but like you're also not technically an adult at 18, like, if you know what I mean. It's just, that's a little, like, you're still in that transitional period. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought I was an adult when I was 18 too, but like looking back, I'm like, whoa. But you know what I'm saying? So it's like, now they're saying like, with the Saturn return, it's like 28 or whatever. So, okay, I forgot what I was just saying. But anyway, as you get older, no matter what age you are, I don't even know why I just said all that stuff. As you get older, and not even like in years, but just like as you grow as a person and sort of become more, is autonomous the right word? It's like, that's what this card I'm also getting from this is like trying to have your own like autonomy, as far as the conditioning that you've held, like that has shaped you based on your parents, your teachers, your, you know, whatever up until this point, whoever has like had a hand in like raising you, and, you know, and it's kind of like becoming a blank slate and sort of like building it from the ground up based on like your own like ideals and your own beliefs and your own hopes, like, and like what you want to accomplish for yourself. Like, no one's saying like you can't take some of that conditioning with you, but also it's like melding that with like your own convictions and beliefs. And another thing this card talks about is like the wildness and freedom of the spirit. And, you know, when you're acting in accordance to the conditioning that other people have sort of set for you, that's not your wild and free spirit like coming out, you know. That's like, I mean, it could be, maybe that is, if it is in line with your own soul, like, you know, by all means, like, then maybe it is. But I don't know. With this card specifically coming out, I feel like there's something in you that is maybe a little bit opposite or different from the conditioning that you've experienced in your life. There was something else I wanted to talk about with this card. Oh, yeah, so it's like there's this one wolf here, and, you know, like a lone wolf I'm kind of getting. And that's another thing I wanted to say. Like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go through this alone. Like, this doesn't have to be like a, I shouldn't say you don't have to go through this alone, but sometimes, you know, people, there's that sort of mentality of like, oh, like a lone wolf, like that's a strong person, like they don't need other people and blah, blah, blah. But like, we all need other people. Like, and I think it's not about so much about like breaking away and like doing your own thing, like F everybody else. It's more about like learning healthier ways, like more adult ways to communicate with people, kind of like hold your own convictions and beliefs while also like being respectful of other people, especially like your elders here. And, you know, kind of coming to that sort of like compromise, even if it's just like within yourself, where you're like, okay, you know, like they want me to do this, but like I'm really like leaning towards doing this, you know, kind of a thing. And like, I have to do what's right for me. But like being able to communicate that in a respectful way, even if you're like disappointing somebody or you think that's not what they want to hear. So yeah, it's all about like finding new ways to communicate. I mean, this is a moon in Gemini, so obviously like communication is going to be highlighted. On the bottom of this Moonology deck, we had communication is key. And I'm just looking at this now. It's like, take time to breathe out. So there might be maybe like some sort of arguments or something. Like there might be like a scenario where get angry, get frustrated, and maybe like end up like having some harsh words. So I think spirit is kind of saying like take time to breathe. Like if you notice like a situation like heading in that direction, try to communicate in a more neutral way, and you know, don't let emotions like get the best of you. Just keep an eye out for that, because full moon energy can be very intense. And then we have this card here, which is basically just like your energy during this full moon, what energy you can step into. And we have the North Node, step out of your comfort zone. Again, it's like this whole, it's like this growing up idea, like this, but not even growing up in a way of like, oh, like now I'm gonna be potty trained. Like, I don't really mean it like, was it chronologically, like in years, like, it's more just like an inner growth where it's like you're allowing yourself to grow, you're allowing yourself to like really move towards the things you want to, even if they make you a little bit uncomfortable, because we have to step out of your comfort zone. So sometimes, like, what makes us uncomfortable, there's like a lot of like little chicken nuggets of like wisdom in there, or like answers, like in a way, because it's like, this makes me uncomfortable. Like, why is that? Is it because I really want to do that and I'm jealous of the other people doing it, but I'm too scared? So it's like this feeling just kind of like manifests inside of me to like protect myself from like having to feel like uncomfortable or be like made fun of. It's like a self-protection kind of mentality that develops. So it's like, it's a good opportunity to sort of like examine the things that make you feel uncomfortable and try to figure out why that is. Like, it's a lot of times we think we know ourselves, but like we don't realize that there are certain illusions that we're operating under, and a lot of them have to do with the way that we feel about ourselves and the things we're scared of happening to ourselves, and like the things, yeah, we're scared of people finding out about ourselves, and we sort of like cast blame, not blame, but like attention, like we point a finger at somebody else, like, oh, look what that person's doing, like blah blah blah, but meanwhile like you do like a similar version of what that person's doing. It's like you're trying to deflect attention away from yourself. But I think it's a very subconscious thing that we do, and a lot of times like you have these realizations of like, oh my god, like I'm trying to think of an example, but I don't know, just if you're kind of like talking bad about, oh, this person like always lies and da 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 da. But then it's like you realize like you do the same thing, like in a different way than this person does, but like you're not very honest about certain things, like you, or even that you used to in the past, if that makes sense. And there's just that residual shame left over. That's something like I used to lie all the time when I was a kid. Like I was afraid of like getting in trouble. Like it wasn't like coming from a malicious, like dishonest place, I don't think, but I would just be scared of like getting in trouble all the time. So I would just lie, even if I knew like there was, like I was caught, like, you know, it was like stupid. And like, as I got older, I was like, you know, it's better just to tell the truth. Like, who cares? They're going to find out anyway. They already know, or whatever. But, sometimes like, yeah, if somebody is like a not an honest person, I will like see them and be very judgmental of them. And I'll be like, oh, like just fucking like, I'm trying to say, I don't know what I really say, but like, oh, why are they always like fucking lying? They're a pathological liar, like da 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 da. Like, we know you did it, we saw you, like, you know, stuff that, but like I used to do that, and I feel like that residual shame is still there and can make me sort of like go on the attack like that. So I hope this is making sense and I'm not just babbling, but like examine those things that make you feel uncomfortable. Like examine like your judgments of people. Like examine like when you're shit talking, like we all do it. We all vent about people, like be like, is there any like correlation to myself here that I can kind of pick up on? So that's like what I'm getting. So okay, let's get some tarot. And let's check into, we're gonna get like 4 cards here. So tell me, where is my collective right now, like out of balance? That's what I want to see with this card. Hold on. Where is my collective out of balance right now? 1 card, please. We have the Hermit. Okay. And how can they restore harmony? What can they do to restore harmony? We have the Page of Swords. Okay. And where can they focus their energy? It's too many. 1 card, please. Oh, that's like 5. Where can my collective focus their energy during this full moon? Oh, we have the 6 of Swords. Okay, and what is being illuminated? We have the Ace of Wands. Okay. And we have the 9 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. Let me just like look at the shot quick. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. All right. Let's move this up. And like that. Okay, so what's out of balance here? The Hermit. I feel like that's interesting because I was getting that whole like lone wolf thing. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe what's out of balance is that you're just, I guess, your social life, I would say, or like you're kind of like hiding away and keeping people out or something like that. I feel like also what's I'm noticing is that this Hermit is like, oh my God, okay. Like, I feel like what's out of balance, like that whole thing I just said, like, yes, I feel like you are kind of like isolating yourself and kind of like, maybe like staying in your little cave, whatever that is, even if it's not like, you don't have to be alone to be like isolated is what I'm trying to say. So even if you are like hanging out with people, like say you're like, I don't know, like meeting a different guy on Tinder every night, like, you know what I mean? Like hanging out and then going home, like you could still feel like very isolated. Like, does that make sense? So it doesn't mean that you're like actually not seeing people, but like, I feel like there's not really any super deep talks right now, any super connectiveness like happening, or I would say, or the opposite, but with this Hermit coming out, I feel like it's highlighting, if anything, like the isolationism. Number 9, like you could be trying to sort of like figure everything out on your own. Again, that's like another vibe that I'm getting, because that whole thing where it's like learn how to communicate, learn how to ask for help. I didn't say that, but I'm saying it now. Learn to sort of take the certain nuggets of wisdom like from the people around you, but you don't have to take everything that they say and like take on their opinions and judgments as well. But with the Hermit, yeah. And now look at this Hermit, because he's in his little shell here, but there's like these mountains behind, like these things that like need to be like attended to that he's just sort of like ignoring. He's like, and this owl is like flying in like with the key here, and it's like he doesn't want to see it, you know? So there is like a sense of sort of being in denial, or like not even denial, but like knowingly turning your back on like certain obligations. The fact that they came out over the Saturn return. And with the Hermit card, that's Virgo energy, so that speaks a lot about your daily routine and things like that. So like maybe you're letting the bills pile up, like the dishes pile up, like I don't know, like there's some sort of like shirking of something. Like maybe you're like not cooking and you're just like ordering a bunch of takeout food, and you know, stuff like that, where you like bought a bunch of groceries, but then you just like let them go bad and you're just like at McDonald's every day. Like there's something like that where you're just sort of like, there's something, I know that's like a stupid example, but like, it's more like that would be like a symptom of like the overall like energy of you sort of like letting things slide and making sort of like careless decisions that like you feel guilty about yourself. So it's not like sitting here being like you shouldn't do that, but it's more like you feel like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, and it's like bothering you. It's like the mountains are present in this card, so it's not like this is something that isn't bothering you. Like it is bothering you, but at the same time you're like ignoring it. It's just like when, I don't know, like you're tired, you get home from work or something, you know, you should like clean your house, I should get that vacuum out, and you just kind of like lay on the couch and watch TV all night. But then it's like, and that's not a big deal. You could just like do it in the morning theoretically, like I don't know, like, but it's like you don't even like enjoy your time watching TV because you're like, oh, I should be cleaning, like, you know what I mean? You're like racked with guilt. It's like, it's not like you're kind of ignoring it, but you're kind of not, like, you know, it's like you're just feeling bad anyway. Like it would be a lot better if you're just like, you know what, tonight is for me and I'm just gonna chill and do my thing, and like you would just enjoy your night. You probably wake up refreshed and like grab the vacuum, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what I feel like is out of balance for you. Like there's like some big thing that you're sort of like not attending to that needs to be attended, and you're feeling guilty about it. Yeah, so I would say with the Hermit, it's more either like your physical surroundings, your home environment, things like that, your routines and things like that, or even like your mental body, or like both, kind of like the stress of your outer environment, like is the stress that your outer environment is like causing is like really like gunking up the works mentally for you. And then how to restore harmony, we have the Innocence of Swords, and to me that's saying first of all, like the Innocence of Swords, this is like such a cute little panther. Like it's like a little kitten, panther kitten. Kind of looks like my cats. But with that energy, I'm thinking of like, again, like that whole like step out of your comfort zone idea where it's like, take a minute to be the observer of your own life. Like how are you reacting like to certain things? Like how are you acting like in your everyday life? And like how do you want, I mean, I don't know, like with the Page of Swords, the Page of Swords is somebody like, I mean, he could be like a spy, but I'm not getting like, obviously, that you should start spying on people, but like, I feel like you should almost try to like look at your life as if you were somebody else like looking in and like objectively like look at your life. That's what I'm getting with this Innocence of Swords, like without casting blame, just the fact that it's called that in this deck. Like be like, okay, and like almost like, again, like let your instincts, because with this white wolf here, it's like, again, like let all your instincts and your preconceived notions and all that stuff kind of like melt away. Like use that corrosive antimony energy to like sort of like become like a blank canvas and like develop like new instincts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if like, well, your instincts are your instincts, you can't develop new ones, but like notice your instincts. I feel like there's something about the way you instinctually like react or act that is like really, just that this card is right here front and center, that like needs to be addressed. Like what makes you like crawl into this shell? Like take a look and try to figure it out. Like, you know, I feel like, again, this is a Gemini moon, so like there is, and look, we have like two of these swords cards here, like right in the middle. So it's like, this is the perfect time to sort of like use that brain, you know, and like try to discover like what illusions like you're sort of like telling yourself. Like what are you hiding from? Like what are you not facing? Because Saturn wants you to face it head on. That is like the whole point of this moon. Like that is the energy coming through. So, and then where do you need to focus your energy? I think it's ironic that this is like a turtle kind of, just like this turtle on this hermit card, you know? So it's like this turtle's like out of the shell. Like you see, it's like wide open, colorful, jewel tones, like woo, like swimming away. I'm assuming swimming. Yeah. Yeah, it's a Six of Swords. He's probably swimming. I guess he's not flying. But like, right, it's like going with the flow. Like it's like, okay, like let me pop my head out, you know, and sort of like focus on like having like a new mindset about this, because that's what the Six of Swords is all about. It's like, and a lot of times, if you ever watch Jess Puckett, she talks how like the Six of Swords is like a functioning dysfunction. And it's like almost recognizing that, like, yes, maybe you are functioning, maybe like your bills are getting paid, maybe 3 weeks late, but they're getting paid, you know, recognize the functioning dysfunction in your life. And like and fixing it and like finding a new way, like maybe like lining up your responsibilities, like making lists and things like that. I talk a lot about like, well, I feel like this always comes through in my readings, like this Virgo energy, like we need to like get things straightened up, like kind of an energy. Like maybe a lot of messy people watch my channel, like I'm one of you, so I love it. It's like being responsible is such like a struggle for me, but it's so easy for some people, and like that can like make you feel guilty. And maybe that's something to think about, because it's like everyone has their own challenges, like, you know. And like some of the people like I know that are like super meticulous and responsible, it's like they don't even know what, I don't want to say they don't know what compassion is, but like, I mean, some of the things that they come out of their mouth would never even come out of mine. Like it's just like, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, you know. It's like easier for them to be judgmental. Like, I don't know, that's like a silly like comparison, but it's like I try to look at things like that sometimes, where I'm like, okay, I might not be like the, you know, neatest person who ever lived, but I would never, I don't know, make fun of somebody for blah, 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 like something like that. So it's like, I'd rather be me and be my messy self, like, you know, and sort of like, just like accept that like maybe, yeah, responsibility is something that's always going to be a challenge for you, or whatever this is that you're neglecting. Like that might always be, it might always be a challenge for you to like, just be yourself, or to just, communicate with the people in your life in an authentic way, like because you're afraid of maybe upsetting people, like, and things like that. You don't like to argue. Maybe you're somebody that just likes to keep the peace, and there are some things that need to be addressed here. Something that you're ignoring. So like whatever it is, like, you know, just accept like that's just what your challenge is. And it's just better with this Page of Swords to know what it is and to understand like why your natural inclination is to do what you do. All right, and then we have what's being illuminated, like the Ace of Wands here. And I think that's really cool and interesting. Like this is like being represented by a tiger, which is like a very like feminine energy, even though it's like a very like fiery and like aggressive energy. But I think what's being illuminated here is that like you're able, it's almost like if I didn't have all this stuff like weighing me down, if I didn't have all this like mountains to climb and like blah blah blah, like it's almost like once you face that stuff, it's like you realize like you have so much more freedom. I'm getting almost like a sense of freedom, and like once you let sort of like the opinions of like the other people go, for example, and sort of like boil down to like a blank canvas, it's like that like makes room for like new curiosities, like new exciting events that could potentially happen, because this doesn't look like a very fun and exciting energy. This is like the Hermit being like bogged down. It's a very like heavy sort of an energy. The Ace of Wands is like whew, lighting a match. It's like whew, you know, it's like new, it's bright, it's like fiery, like it's exciting. Like getting rid of all this weight is sort of like, yeah, gonna pave the way for like a new spark, like for some more excitement in your life and things like that. That's what's gonna be illuminated, is that like, I don't know, like there's just like, there's exciting things to come, and it's coming out right like underneath this step out of your comfort zone thing. So it's like there might be something cool on the other side of it, you know, like, so that's why it's really important to like investigate like I think what's being illuminated is like how your comfort zone is like holding you back, like, and how like there could be so much more fun and passion and like play and just stuff like that on like the other side of your comfort zone, you know. Step out of your comfort zone. Like doesn't mean you have to like, your comfort zone is here, it doesn't mean you have to go like all the way like over here, you know, and like be like super radical and do some crazy shit. Like I mean, you could just be like bloop right here, like you're kind of still there, but like you're checking out some new things, you know. So I think that's what's going to be illuminated for you, that like how the fear was like so silly, because like you're actually going to like enjoy what's on the other side of this comfort zone. So okay, let's get some affirmations for you guys. I want to see just basically what else, like if you actually like, if you do like affirmation work, or you like to write them down and do like a scripting thing or whatever, like this could just point you in the right direction, or you could use these affirmations. I love this deck. Okay, let's see, let's get a couple. Oh, what does this say? Listen to the whisper. I listen to the whispers inside my heart. Okay. And I am always provided for. And let's get one more. I breathe in love and exhale fear. All right, so those are some affirmations. I feel like the gist of this is like, maybe there's some sort of lack mentality. I'm always provided for. Just know that spirit is always, like, I'm always provided for. I'm thinking of financial stuff, but like sometimes spirit needs to like provide a lesson in order to get you sort of like moving, like jolt you a little bit. So like even if something feels like it's happening against you, it's like it is happening for you. That's what I'm getting from this card. It's like something to remember. Like even when times are tough, it is you being provided for by spirit. I listen to the whispers inside my heart. It's basically, again, just there's that whole idea of communication with this reading and this moon. And it's like also the way you communicate with yourself, you know, like listen to your inner voice and say, what is that like little whispering voice saying? Like, is it saying nice stuff to you? Is it saying mean stuff to you? Is it saying like discouraging things, like encouraging, like, you know, figure out like what that voice is saying and try to like pay more attention to it, you know? And then I breathe in love and exhale fear. Again, like it's all about like having that love inside, you know, looking at yourself in a more forgiving way. Like, okay, maybe I've been ignoring some things. Maybe I've been letting some things slide. Maybe like it is time for me to sort of like step it up and have a little reality check, but like, okay, like I'm doing that now and that's all I can do. You can't go back and fix anything, even though it would be cool if you could. But, and then we exhale fear. It's like, you know, like being in the present moment, realizing that like your life is right now in this moment and you can change it. You can, by just making one decision, by like doing something differently, like right now in this moment. So whatever that could be for you. And then look, I honor the divine energy that's money. I do feel like there's something, like I was talking about paying your bills and stuff like that, but I don't know. I feel like there is something to do with like your daily routine, I guess your finances, we have Saturn and Virgo, so that is like earthly sort of things. So, I mean, yeah, like money is important. We live on an earthly plane where money and our physical reality is a big part of it, you know, like I won't say the main part of it, but we have to have that balance between the two of them. And, you know, whether you're ignoring certain things or you're like maybe even being a workaholic and there's like emotional problems like that, you know, you're using work as an excuse to sort of like not face whatever you're feeling inside. Like there needs to be that sort of balance of like your emotions, your physical world, and like trying to realizing the importance of both and sort of like finding a way to like harmoniously like have both of those areas like tended to in your life, you know? So let's get some advice. This is just my advice deck. Or just like memes and quotes from books. Some are like my own quotes, but or just like little sayings and stuff like that. Okay, so what advice for the collective for this full moon? It says sometimes the heart knows in a way that the logical mind can't. That's like two messages of that. Like listen to the whispers inside. I listen to the whispers inside my heart, and sometimes the heart knows in a way. So maybe like again, that's like that conditioning that we were talking about earlier, where it's like your heart is saying something to you, but like you're not listening because like the conditioning of your youth or something is like sort of like has like a louder voice or has more clout when it comes to you, you know, like you kind of just like always go with logic. And again, that's like what I was just saying, like that balance between your emotions and like the earthly plane, like it's again finding balance. Listen to both, you know, they both probably have a valid point and there can be some sort of compromise. And Gemini does speak about that duality, so I'm not surprised that this message is kind of coming through. But it's like know the value of both. Like yes, other people's insight can be very valuable and helpful, but like your own heart is speaking to you, or your own soul. Like I know that's like corny and shit, but like that's like, you know, that inner spark, like that's what your desires and your heart, like what your heart wants is very important. And it's when it's ignored, it causes upset, you know. That's like the consequent, like that we were talking about. It is a wise thing to be polite. Consequently, it is a stupid thing to be rude. Again, I think I was saying that earlier, like, oh yeah, with this communication is key, and then like it had to take time to breathe out. So again, there might be a tendency, or there might be a little opportunity to get in a argument with someone. So if that does happen, again, just try to sort of don't let things get ugly. Try to maybe be polite throughout and just be like, and maybe just try to exit the conversation like, hey, like, I'm sorry, like, I just don't think this is a good time to talk about this right now. Like, I'm busy, or like, whatever it is. Like, you know, just be like, hey, could we talk about this later? I don't want to like get in a fight with you. I'm so sorry. Like, there's got to be a way to sort of like ease the conversation. I feel like that really is a message coming through. So, oh, that's too many. What is advice for my collective during this full moon? It was two that flipped. I just want one. What is the advice for this collective, for my collective during this full moon? It's two. Please give me some advice. All right, come on, guys. Can I just have one card, please? What is the advice for my collective? Come on. What is the advice for my collective during this full moon? Thank you. Every word you speak or write can change your life. Choose wisely. Okay. Like, please be careful, but not be careful, but like, just be aware that try to watch your words, I would say. And then we have start and end the day with positive thoughts about yourself, even if you're mean in between. Yeah, again, take a look at that inner voice and that inner dialogue. Like, what is it saying to you? Like, what is like the opinion that you have of yourself that you could just tell by like your assumptions about things. Like if something bad happens, is like your voice like, oh yeah, like it's a shocker, like, you know, or is it like, oh man, like, you know, like you weren't expecting it, like, because that, like, the things that you expect, like, what do you expect to happen? What do you assume is going to happen? Like, where do you assume that your life is going to go? Like, look at these things, you know, it's very important. All right, let's see what else. As a result of this, like, let's say after this moon, what's gonna happen for a peeps? Like, what's gonna happen? And what can they expect? What can my collective expect, like, as a result of this full moon? That's what I'm trying to say. So let's see. Cobweb, protected from negative forces beyond your control. Interesting. Okay. Well, it says protected, so that's good. What can my collective expect as a result of this full moon? Funnel, period of frustration and lessons to be learned. Again, like, that's that sort of Saturn energy, lessons to be learned. So I do think that this may not be the funnest moon, but I think it will help clear away some confusion with this cobwebs. And that could also be speaking of like, oh, get out that duster, clean up something. And it doesn't have to be like literally clean up. It could be metaphorically, like there could be some old thought patterns. There could be some old stuck emotions. I always recommend Reiki Rachel. She does like a lot of full moon Reiki sessions. They're free on her channel, Reiki Rachel, or she has a whole bunch of like pre-recorded ones you could just like look into for anything that you want to sort of work with and heal within yourself here. Any old energies you want to release. That's perfect for that Reiki. We have March. Oh. Okay. So maybe something in March is sort of affecting you now, a decision you made, something that happened in March. Maybe this is like a cycle that's going to sort of like around springtime, you're going to start seeing some positive results or something like that. Or maybe I'm also getting like spring cleaning. Again, that whole like cobweb idea where even if it's not like literally cleaning, it's just a clearing out of energy and things like that. We have love. Oh, beautiful. And let's see, what can my collective expect? We have ear, good news. Yay, I'm so happy. Okay. So maybe things may seem rough, but then like with that spring energy, oh yeah, like protection from negative forces beyond your control, the cobweb, and then it's like funnel, period of frustration. So there could be something that happens that you really have no control over. Again, that lesson coming in, that spiritual like lesson that's really coming in, that you're learning here, and that causes you a lot of frustration. But then it's like almost like spring comes and it's like a more positive energy moving forward after that. And then the last, oh, I got two. I was only going to get one. Hammock, taking a vacation physically or mentally. And then it says claw, be careful, do not take risks. So I guess, again, like be careful. Oh, like, look, choose wisely. There's like that message again of like, be careful, choose wisely. And this is saying taking a vacation. So again, I feel like if somebody is like trying to start something with you, maybe just like walk away, like try to like exit the situation and, you know, have a more neutral interaction with this person. So maybe try listening instead of just like jumping to argue. We do have that ear here, trying to like, you know, use love in the situation, infuse a little love, always a good idea. So all right, guys, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely full moon in Gemini, and I will catch you in the next reading, okay? Bye.